One second you're in a Ferrari going 150 miles per hour. Then... These are the football players that almost died. And for Cristiano Ronaldo, only few days after buying his dream car, an accident changed his life forever. On January 8th, 2009, it was an unusual morning for Ronaldo, because he had an early practice after Manchester had just suffered a heartbreaking loss. And Ronaldo's teammates were counting on him to be there, but he was nowhere to be found. It turned out that Ronaldo overslept, and after some time, he woke up and saw all the notifications. So he jumped out of bed immediately. I mean, Ronaldo and not showing to a practice, that was unusual, right? And he had only have 20 minutes to get all the way across the city, but he was determined to get there in time. There was one car in his garage that could get the job done. But he didn't know that getting in that car would be the biggest mistake of his life. Ronaldo was just starting to make a name for himself, and now he was crawling out of a Ferrari that was completely destroyed. So the fact that Ronaldo could walk away without a single scratch, it was a miracle. And thank God for that, because we didn't lose the greatest football player in the world. Unfortunately, most disasters happen while we at least expect it. Like for Matheus Silva, this man saw death in his eyes while he was on vacation. Him and his friend were getting ready to go have fun on the beach, but little did they know, things were about to get scary. See that next morning, they got in the car, turned on some bangers. You know how it is. And after a long drive to get to the beach, they finally arrived. But as soon as Silva's feet touched the sand, he just lost control. He saw the water and the sun, and he just couldn't help himself. I mean, he felt like a little kid again. And without thinking, he ran straight for the water, and he started swimming. And it looked so beautiful, until it didn't. The boys were watching him and they thought he was trolling until he went under. Then their hearts dropped. They raced to the lake. They jumped in after him, but by the time they got to Silva, it was too late. He wasn't breathing and he had no pulse. So they pulled him back to shore. So they had no choice but to call 911.
911, what's your emergency?
It turned out he was in a coma. See, when he jumped into that lake, he was so excited he didn't realize the water was freezing. So as soon as he got in, his body went into shock and it caused his heart to stop. I mean, he's just lucky his teammates were there because they literally saved his life. His teammate Chris Wondolowski paid respect to him in their next game, wearing his number 38, and even scored a goal that night. Almost drowning is something gonna live with you forever, but not making it to your first birthday. That was Neymar reality. In 1992, Neymar was only a few months old. Him, his dad, and his mom were driving to visit some relatives. But that's when things turned deadly. The family was driving up the mountains. But out of nowhere, a scary storm hit. And it wasn't just rain that comes and goes. It was storming so bad, they couldn't even see what was right in front of them. Then... the family was in an accident and everybody, I mean everybody, was hurt. First, the dad's leg landed on top of the other, dislocating his hip, but his worst fear was... where was Junior? The car was hit so hard that Neymar literally disappeared, and the family had no idea where he went. His dad looked everywhere. Inside the car, on the street, outside the car, in the bushes, just nothing. They couldn't find him. They didn't know what to do until they heard crying. It was Neymar, and he was trapped. His dad looked underneath the driver's seat, and there he was, covered in blood. Neymar's head was cut from a piece of glass. So the family, they had no choice. They immediately rushed into the hospital. Neymar came face to face with death, And he wasn't even old enough to understand words or to even know what was going on. So when Neymar's dad found out that he was gonna be okay, all he honestly could do was thank God. And from that point on, he knew Neymar was blessed. Nothing compares to Ángel Di María, living every day with a target on his back. And lately, things have gotten so crazy that people literally came after his entire family. At the beginning of 2021, when PSG headed into a highly anticipated match, they were determined to prove themselves. By halftime, they were up 1-0, and things were looking great. But then, something happened that no one could have predicted. During the 62nd minute, everyone's phones on the team started blowing up. It was chaos. Out of nowhere, Ángel had to be rushed out of the stadium in the middle of the game. What was going on? His family was in immediate danger. It turned out, criminals had been watching his house, and they knew he'd be away. As soon as they realized it was game day, they saw their chance, and they took it. With only Angel's wife and 2 daughters at home, the criminals broke in and held them hostage. They looted the house, grabbing anything valuable, and they stole Angel's entire $600,000 jewelry collection before escaping in a getaway car, like a scene out of Grand Theft Auto.
You make me want to immigrate.
The crazy part? This wasn't even the first time Angel's house had been targeted. So, immediately after this, he had no choice but to hire security. It wasn't just his life at risk anymore. In 2017, Fernando Torres returned to Atletico Madrid after a few tough seasons abroad. A legend in Madrid, Torres had built a legacy that would last forever. But during a match against Deportivo La Coruña, he came face to face with death. Atletico were losing. Time was running out, and they needed a hero. That's when Diego Simeone looked at Torres and signaled him to step in. "Fernando, you're up. Go make a difference." Torres entered the game determined to save his team. But just minutes later, disaster struck. Torres took a heavy blow to the head. What seemed like a normal tackle quickly turned serious as blood started pouring out. The entire stadium fell silent and fear took over. Fans, teammates, and officials feared the worst. An ambulance rushed in, and it looked like it might be Torres' last time on the pitch. But hours later, news broke that he had survived. It was a concussion, serious but not fatal. To calm everyone, Torres posted a selfie from his hospital bed, smiling. Torres knew how lucky he was. He recovered and continued his career, grateful for another chance. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories.